The issue of the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi. Well, his matter is before a court of law. We may not talk much about the case, but it was unfortunate that people lost their lives. I have not been properly briefed about how the incidents happened, but what is a matter of fact that people died, and the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi is at the center of those deaths. And what I have gathered also, I think the group that died are part of that Yegali that was helping him in the canvassing for support. The details on how they got into confrontation with security, I do not have them on the fingertips. But since the matter is before the courts of law, I do hope it will be thoroughly investigated and then justice will prevail. But I convey my condolences to the members of the families that lost their dear ones. Well, regarding legal representation, it's usually the responsibility of you, the suspect, to arrange to get lawyers and members of the family to help you. But also, it is only humane that the arresting officers and the state should enable you have access. It's not only humane, but it's a requirement that you should have access to members of your family and your lawyers. So I do not have details as to why his lawyers delayed, but it could have been their own internal weaknesses as a party, assembling a team of lawyers to be able to help him in time. But I saw footages how he appeared in the court, where the judicial officer was gracious enough to allow for time for the lawyers to be ready to come to court and defend him. So we hope he will get justice through the court system. But usually, it is you, the suspect, who takes the responsibility of organizing your legal team, not the state to do that for you. But you should be enabled an environment to do that. Well, Bobi Wine is like any other Ugandan. He has been a presidential candidate. He came second, yes. But let's not pretend as if we live outside Uganda. The kind of political culture some of these actors have brought is that his politics is associated with radicalism, extremism, belligerence, defiance, and we all know, like I said in the statement, where in his campaign, he was saying this is a protest campaign. He was even urging his supporters to mobilize the vote, to cast the vote, defend it, demand it in a manner that was inciting the public, that in case he doesn't win, then something should be done. Any responsible government will not take those kind of threats lying down, especially judging from our history where we have had cases of post-election violence and we have lost lives. So government has a duty to protect all of us. And you being a candidate at any level should not be a license for you to threaten me. Threaten me. A political contestation should not be a ground for you to incite violence and cause harm to others. Now, the reason why security has deployed at his home is basically for monitoring purposes, because there is adequate intelligence information regarding what was being planned to cause insurrection. But nobody has chased him from his home. Like I have said before, is free to be in his home, provided he doesn't engage in criminal activities. He's free like any other candidate. There were 8 candidates. The others are at home and living peacefully. Like I have stated before, he's just trying to create a story where there is none. He is not wanted by the state. He is not wanted by police or any state institution. If he has chosen to go into hiding, that is his decision. And we are not bothered. We know where he is. If we wanted him, we would get him. But at the moment, nobody wants him. So if he hides, whether in a banana plantation or in somebody's home or wherever, that is his freedom to go into hiding. But I think also it's a sign of cowardice. If you rally your troops that after the vote, we demand our vote, how can you demand for little hiding? Where are his children? Why would we hide his children? And he wants mine to be on the forefront to confront security. Why? Doesn't he know those children who are dying have parents? They also have blood. So I think he should stop the games. If he thinks his votes were rigged, or if he thinks there were irregularities which made him not win, he can go to courts of law and challenge what happened. There is sufficient time to gather evidence, and you go to court. You cannot be a president of Uganda unless Ugandans have voted you. Whether he goes into hiding during the day and the night, that will not make him a president of Uganda. What will make him a president of Uganda is going to the people cast the ballot, they count the votes, you get the biggest percentage, and you are declared. There is no shortcut. So thinking that he will just play games to just attract sympathy, I think that's the wrong methodology that he's looking at. To be helped by the international community or other activists that might be as well daydreaming. So, like I have said before in the media, Honorable Chagulanyi is not wanted by the state. So if he's hiding from his own shadow, not from the forces of the state. So is he strong? Not at all. But we have a duty to protect Ugandans. If there is information that anybody is organizing to engage in criminal activities which threaten our security, then the state has a duty to ensure that you and I are safe from those criminal intentions. So it's in that regard that there is light security at his place just for monitoring purposes. But his family is free to live at home. Now, internet shutdown. We know digital services now play a very critical role in our economy. And almost whatever we do depends and relies on digital services. And we are aware that any shutdown definitely causes economic losses, not only to institutions, but even us as individuals. But at the same time, government has a duty to balance economic interests, but also security interests. And when we looked at it, we knew there would be losses, but again, it was important to disrupt the digital service, the internet, for the sake of security, the security of you and I. Because like I have said, there was information available where some criminally intentioned people wanted to use social media and digital platforms to disrupt public life. And I do not know whether you would think it would be proper to allow that disruption, which could even result into death, that we let it happen simply because we are trying to protect the economic benefits out of it. So it was a question of balancing, but we had to do it even when it had to inconvenience all of us, even us, the actors who were taking the decisions. We had to be inconvenienced, but it was for the good of everybody. But luckily, we have now restored the internet as we monitor the behavior of those who have criminal intentions. So we appeal to Ugandans to understand that it is not just mere fashion that we cut off internet, but because we have a duty to protect everybody and wouldn't want to allow people to use technology to disrupt public life. But also, I will be speaking to the media later on. We are in advanced stages of acquiring superior technology, which will help us maybe in the future not to cause this kind of shutdowns, but we do it using more sophisticated technology than maybe the way we did it. The biometric voter verification kits failing. We had done everything to procure the kits because the intention of the biometric voter verification was to ensure that whoever comes to vote is properly identified. Unfortunately, there were technical hitches that morning. Even me, I was taken aback. I am yet to sit with our technical people to appreciate what could have exactly happened. Somebody, I was being briefed on the phone that there was a problem with the code, and unfortunately that caused a delay, but we had taken a decision to have elections go on. It didn't have major implications because still the electoral officials had to use the register to identify the voters, and each candidate was expected to have strong agents who would ensure that the person who has come to vote is actually the voter. So we still achieved our intention. Nothing much was lost, only that we didn't do the mandatory verification using technology. Fortunately, in the subsequent local government elections, the technical hitch was rectified and the machines are now working. So in my view, it did not significantly affect the integrity and the quality of the elections. And I'm saying this because I chaired the committee of cabinet that studied that issue of making biometric technology mandatory in the elections. And despite that technical hitch, the elections went on well, and nothing much was lost. These are sometimes the disadvantages of technology, but hopefully it won't happen again. So there was no wrong intention whatsoever behind the non-functionality. It was just a technical hitch, which was realized that morning and was causing a delay, and we had to take a decision. Then someone is asking, who speaks for government? I am speaking for it now. But you see, we have different departments in the government, and we have spokespersons, especially who speak for those departments. but the Ministry of Information takes the overall spokesmanship of the government of Uganda on behalf of the president, of course. So when I come to speak to you, I am telling you the position of the government. I know the concern you are raising is related maybe the tweets that the CDF occasionally puts out through his handle. But I have, for the umpteenth time, clarified that they do not necessarily constitute the official position of the government of Uganda. Many a time, these are just the cavalier comments he puts on social media in his guarded or unguarded moments, but we have a formal way through which we communicate as the government of Uganda. Even UPDF as an institution, if it is to formally communicate an institution or position, it is a formalized way. So you should not read much. We write many things on social media. There was a time when President Museveni would score less than 20% in northern Uganda, and the votes he would get is what would be recorded. Last election is 2021. NRM performed poorly in Uganda, and we recorded it as such. We had to work on it to improve the votes, and now there has been improvement. So are you saying NRM has registered improvement in Uganda because of rigging? Would that be your view? You live here in Uganda? No. People appreciate, in my own view, the excitement which was caused by NUP could not be sustained. Could not be Chaguranyi. I don't want to criticize him. He has his own ways of doing work. Would you really take him as a serious opposition politician in the last 5 years? He spends more time outside in Jamaica on entertainment rather than mobilizing Ugandans. Yes. When he was in Kigezi to mobilize the Bachiga, other than just recently when he came for campaigns. So why would the Bachiga turn to him when he has not mobilized them? Politics is serious business. It is not merely singing. I know his profession is music and drama, but you need more than that to master the art of persuading Ugandans to take you very seriously. That NRM thrives on rigging. It does not. It thrives on what has done for Ugandans, which is there to see. You also raise the issue of government delaying and maybe harassing political prisoners. I don't know what the term political prisoners means. Does it mean a politician being arrested, then you become a political prisoner? Then what happens if you are a politician and you commit a crime and you are arrested? Are you a political prisoner? Because the political prisoner, the connotation would be you have been arrested because of your political beliefs. That is different from being a political actor, but then you are involved in a criminal activity and you are arrested. And I don't think their political beliefs is one of the charges. You see, that doesn't mean because you are a political leader, unless if you want to argue that once you are a political leader, then you are immune from prosecution in case you break the law. And that would be a weird way of reasoning. I am a minister, government minister. If I slapped you, would you say because you are a government minister, it's okay, I should slap this young girl? That's a crime. I should be brought before the law. And you can't say now I'm a political prisoner because I am an NRM politician, but I have slapped somebody. then you call me a political prisoner. You should distinguish my politics and the action for which I have been arrested. Now, like Dr. Kiza Besigye, there are specific charges that have been preferred against him. It is up to him and his legal team to argue them out in court. And if he's innocent, court will find him so. If the state believes it has strong evidence, then they should produce it. That's why we are saying we need a speedy trial, because the prosecution alleges they have grounds, they have evidence that he was involved in subversive action. We don't know. You are not the prosecution. They have the information. So we are waiting for the court to play out. If you have the evidence, play it. If you are innocent as Besigye, now you also argue. Then the courts will decide. That's how the system works. Similarly, Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi, there are lots of things being talked about what happened in Butambara. You and I probably were not there. We shall rely on the investigating teams what exactly happened. And then this will play out in the court. I think where you should give credit is that these political leaders are arrested and taken to court and not killed, or not taken to places where they cannot be identified. As long as the matter has gone to court, because you are the people who say rule of law. What does rule of law mean? That if you suspect that I have committed a crime, then take me to court. Then the court will absolve me, or it will convict me. And the court is independent. Under the law, the president does not even have powers to order court to absolve you of a case. Maybe if you are convicted, he can use his prerogative of mercy, but he cannot say, drop this charge, or this one is free. That is beyond him. So let the courts do their work. As regarding the speed of trial, who dictates the speed of trial? Is it the president? No. Well, there may be weaknesses in the system regarding investigations and the case backlogs, how courts function, but all of us pray for an expeditious process, that once somebody is taken to court, then the process should be fast. Like in the case of Dr. Kiza Besigye, his case began in the military court. You were all there. Then along the way, there was a decision by a Supreme Court regarding the court-martial. And his case had to leave the military court and go to civilian court. Now the legal team representing him has been having a lot of arguments in the court regarding the judge, where Kiza Besigye is appearing to recuse himself. There are those procedural arguments we have all been following. So would you blame President Museveni that he's the one not giving a verdict? Or are you saying it is us executive telling the judge not to hear the case? It's just the procedural arguments which they are having. And like I said earlier on, all of us are praying for a speedy and fair trial so that the prosecution can table the evidence that they have. And then Dr. Besigye's lawyers can also argue, and then we hope the judicial officers will determine the case and make a decision. That's how it works. So, are they political prisoners? In my view, no. Is Mwanga Chivumbi a political prisoner? No. There is a case involving the death of those people. Unless you are saying the deaths are manufactured, nobody died. And if he's innocent, then the court will make that determination, not us. I also watched on social media her narration, which, like I said, I have not gotten any briefing regarding those who were physically there at her home. but there seems, from my judgment, there is a sense of exaggeration in what she says. When she says I was hit on the pole and injured, using my naked eye examination as a doctor, I don't see the injuries. I think there's a lot of politics just playing around, and but I condemn any improper handling of anybody, particularly women. Even if the security officers went to search for anything, there would be no need to improperly handle Babi Chagulanyi or any other Ugandan. You can still do the search lawfully without harming anybody. But her narration seems to be laced with a lot of politics and exaggeration. That's my own analysis from what I saw. But we shall find out. We shall find out internally whether indeed there was an element of abuse, because being an opposition political leader is not a crime. It's not a crime. And being a spouse of a political leader is also not a crime. So those kind of altercations are not called for. They are not called for. But we shall find out to see whether there was any abuse at her home, because also our security forces are guided by the code of conduct, and they are not supposed to cross the line once they are doing their work. They should do their work within ethical and professional parameters, not to infringe on the rights of any Ugandan. Whether that Ugandan believes in NRM or not, it's not a crime to belong to the opposition, and therefore nobody should be harassed simply because he does not believe in NRM. As long as he is law-abiding, there should be no problem at all. She said they wanted to kill her child. I didn't hear that, because I thought she said she had hidden her children somewhere. But you are introducing another element. She made an allegation that they wanted to kill her child. That one I had not heard. I hope you are not adding your mouth to her words. Her words, because I didn't hear her say it about killing her child. As an observer or somebody who was physically here in Uganda to witness what happened, or is just using the comfort of air condition in Washington to just merely speak. You know, speaking is easy. I can also stand here and speak about the US. But for us, we're on the ground. And when we hold the elections in Uganda, we don't hold them to satisfy Jim or any other foreign power. We hold them to satisfy ourselves as Ugandans. The question is, have Ugandans made a decision on who to lead them? And I don't think Jim, or whoever he is, has the necessary competence to make that assessment whether Ugandans have made a decision correctly or not. What is important is that an environment was created to enable Ugandans cast their vote, and they did. And even them in their country, they have imperfections when they hold elections. But we are less bothered because that is their system. That is their system. That is their country. So what invites him to get all that bother when Uganda is our country, not his country? Not his country. And for him to say it's a horror exercise, the rigging, what evidence does he have? He can cross-check the law and put a petition in the court here in Uganda so that he can satisfy himself. This business of wanting to drive what happens in other countries is not acceptable. Is not acceptable. Uganda is for Ugandans, not for other people. In the Ruchiga, we used to have a saying that when your millet garden is ready for harvesting, what we say, why don't you harvest your own garden? And you leave me to harvest my own garden. So, the gentleman is not Uganda's keeper, no. And we're not holding elections to make him happy. That's not the intention. Whether President Museveni has got a 7th term or not, it is our decision as Ugandans. If for him, he wants to vote out his leader in America, that's his business. But if Ugandans want to vote a president they love, that is our business. He's not going to choose for us who governs us. If the people in Chinchizi East are satisfied with me as an MP and they elect me, what will he do? He can hang himself if he wants. Because ultimately what matters, what do the people want? And in this case, Ugandans have taken a decision on their leaders. In constituencies where they want an opposition leader, like an MP, they have elected him or her. Where they want an NRM leader, they have done so. In Kampala here, they have removed an opposition mayor, replaced him with an opposition mayor. And we are not bothered by that. That's the decision, the choice of the people. We are not going to force them as NRM to say vote an NRM mayor. It is the people to make that decision, because the Constitution does not allow government to appoint a mayor. It is the people. So why would we be bothered that Ugandans, have they complained to him? Which Ugandan has complained to him in his committee in America that they have not voted well? So really, I don't want to give meaning things which don't carry that meaning a lot. But we are a sovereign country. We know what we are doing, and Ugandans have made a decision. Ugandans are happy with NRM. They have voted for the president, and let's give him time to implement the manifesto which he has marketed in the country, upon which he has been elected, and NRM, and then we demand accountability from the leaders. We have made pledges and promises through the manifesto. Give us time now to implement, and then you demand accountability. But we call upon all Ugandans really to rally behind national development, because what we all want is a stable Uganda, a Uganda which is making progress, where all of us are happy. We may have different political persuasions, because we're in a multi-party dispensation, but we call for tolerance. We call for reconciliation. We call for constructive engagement, so that all of us from our different spaces, we can make a contribution towards building Uganda, which is our only home.